Golf Podcast, presented by Golficity, where we bring you the tips, instruction, and support you need to get the most out of your golf game. And now your hosts, Frank and Mike.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. We've got another special show for you today. Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about our interview, because I'm really excited to talk to Martin. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, me too, Frank. It's funny. A colleague of mine by the name of George, he's developed this really cool golf training device that he's shared with me, and he's continuing to work on it, bring it to the market. There's a lot of coaches out there that are really into this product. So he got it in the hands of Martin, and then he passed Martin's info over to me and said, Mike, you guys got to get Martin on your show. So let me give you a little bit of background about Martin. He started the Tour Striker Golf Academy in the spring of 2011. It's become one of the most successful golf academy and coaching programs in North America. I mean, he's a top 100 coach. He was born in Canada. He grew up around the game of hockey, and then he found his passion for golf. And he's consulted and taught PGA Tour winners, Ryder Cup, President's Cup, major champions. So he's been up there with some of the best in the game. And here's the thing, Frank, I may want to ask Martin why he doesn't do this, but Martin he's not a traveling tour coach. His preference is to just stay home, with his family, and then help amateur golfers within the area, improve their game. And I dig that, Frank, because maybe he doesn't want the stress of the travel with his family, but you know what? We'll get his take on that. We'll see where he wants to take that one. And some more about Martin in the summer when it's like 100 degrees in Phoenix. He'll actually take his facility and his family, the Tour Striker Golf Academy facility. He'll take it on the road with him to many cities around the U.S., Canada, and even abroad. It's like a traveling golf school. So, I mean, how cool is that?
Cool, yeah.
Right?
I love that. And I mean, for you and I, we almost can't conceptualize too hot. It's so cold here. We can't play golf.
Know.
Like, can you imagine it's too hot to play golf?
Too
but yeah,
hot.
man,
I have to leave.
We know some people who live down that way in Phoenix, and it's so true. Sometimes I'll see them sharing it on Instagram. Like, you see like the temperature, and it's like 120 degrees. So that's cool. He kind of takes it on the road. Yeah,
it is cool. And lastly, I just want to mention Revolution Golf, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of and are even members of. I mean, Martin, he's got almost 400 instructional videos on Revolution Golf's platform, and he's listed as a featured instructor alongside of some of the best golf coaches in the game. Names like Sean Foley, Cameron McCormick, Jordan Spieth's coach, Gary Player, Nick Faldo, and Andrew Rice, just to name a few right there. So I'm excited to bring Martin on the show. Let's connect with him now. But first, Frank, let's quickly talk about our efforts to give back.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, you and I have been talking about this, and as many people know, like, we're really blessed at what we get to do with this podcast, with Golficity, with the vlog. I think the funniest thing is every single time we post a new video out there for the vlog, one of the first comments that always comes in is like, guys, I wish I had your job. You're so lucky, and things like that. And there is no bit of that that's lost on us. And we, like I said, we always appreciate every bit that this game has brought for us and things like that. And, coming towards the end of the year here, it's a time of giving. It's a time of giving back. So Mike and I were chatting the other day, and we're like, look, let's do something. Let's start a new tradition. And we're going to start a new tradition at the end of every year, and we're going to call it Golficity Gives Back. And what we're going to do is, independently, you and I, Mike, we're both involved with different charities throughout the year. There's some that we like. And what we thought is this is an opportunity for us to kind of highlight some of those charities, pick those charities, and help them any way we can. So what we're going to be doing, and this is a way we're figuring that two things. We can kind of leverage this, I guess this community that we've built, between the podcast listeners and the viewers and the fans on Facebook and things like that. And you can kind of leverage that as kind of our own mini bullhorn to just kind of bring some awareness to some of these, different charities that we feel are really doing excellent work. So this year, who we're going to be working with, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard of them. I know even some PGA Tour players have worked with them in the past and done independent fundraisers. But the charity we're going to be working with is Charity Water. If you haven't had a chance to check these guys out, 100% you got to do it. Their model, and if you ever get a chance to hear the founder speak, take that opportunity, because it is just an amazing story about how he went from being a club promoter and realizing like what kind of legacy is he going to leave behind. Like he realized that, and I heard him tell this one story once. A lot of times like people would walk in the club and they would just order 20 bottles of Voss water, the one that comes in the glass.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And he said it would be at $10 a bottle, and they would just order 20 and just leave them on the table and never open them. It was just like a status symbol. And, he was burning the candle at both ends, doing these things every night. And then he realized like he's not doing anything for his own legacy and for humanity in general. So he dumped all that, quit it all, gave away almost everything he had, and just started doing some charity work and eventually founded this charity. But he did a little bit of research, and what he found was that the number one reason people don't donate to charities is because they don't trust them. They don't know where the money's going. So it took a lot of work, but amazingly, the way he structured Charity Water was that 100% of what you donate goes directly to the people who are being benefited. He actually had to go out and start 2 charities, Charity Water, and that's all public funds. Anything you donate goes right to the people who need it the most. And then he started a second charity that for private donations that would support all of the administration and everything else that needs to be done to run a charity of this size. They're huge. Many, many people work for them. And then so that way they made it so that those funds fund the charity itself and the work they need to do. And then this way, everything you donate goes to them. So long story short, the reality is you and I, Mike, we play golf and we never think about it. How often is it like on every other hole, there's a big, tub of, or cooler that's loaded with bottles of water, and we grab a couple and we never think of it and things like that. And then the other thing is, as golfers, sometimes we don't realize we're blessed with this abundance of water that we're used to keep the golf courses beautiful. I looked this up the other day and I couldn't believe it. The typical golf course requires anywhere from 100,000 to 1,000,000 gallons of water per week in summer to maintain that healthy vegetation. So it's like, it's clear. A lot of us where we live, we're just lucky. We've just got this water, but it's just not true everywhere else in the world. And the reality is that every day, about 1,400 children die from diseases caused by unsafe water and poor sanitation. And the reality is it doesn't have to be that way. The water is there. It's just a matter of they can't often get access to it. They need assistance with drilling the wells and things like that. Many of the stories you hear that the founder talk about is how people walk. It's 8 hours round trip every day to get water. And they carry, a 60 pound jug of water on their back just to bring water. So what's so cool about this charity is all the money, like I said, you donate goes directly to fund projects that help the, people in need get clean water. They even make sure to use local people as far as for the project of actually drilling the wells, labor, so they're able to be invested in the programs and things like that. And every dollar is accountable. If you go to charitywater.com, you can see all of their financial statements. It's all proven right there. And you can see pictures and GPS coordinates of your dollars at work and exactly what your dollars went to funding. So to wrap that up, what we're going to be doing is we're doing a very simple, small this year, and we're going to see if we can grow it year over year, but we did a $500 goal, $500. If we meet that goal, it'll get about 14 people clean water. It'll get them 14 people clean access to water. Hopefully we can blow past that goal. But what we're going to do too is Golficity is going to do a dollar for dollar match up to $500. Up until December 31st. So if by the end of the year, December 31st, we reach that goal of 500, it'll become $1,000 donation. So
sweet.
And it's great. And like I said, 100% of the money, is used to build clean water projects. And like I said, when they're complete, Charity Water sends photos, GPS coordinates. You get to see all that. If you donate on our program that we have, we've got a special little link and landing page. You'll get emails and you'll see where the money goes and stuff like that. So I kicked in some money today and we're just going to be putting that out there. And like I said, just our way of kind of paying it forward and giving back and just realizing how blessed we are, all the things that we get. It's time to kind of give back. So I will put that link in the show notes. I also posted it in the Facebook group, or you can go to charitywater.org and then under fundraisers, just do find a campaign and search Golficity. You'll see us there. There's a donate button. It's very simple. And like I said, Golficity will do $1 for dollar match up to $500. So it's a little thing we get to do. And next year we'll do something else. And if you guys know of any great charities, let us know, but we want to start this new Golficity Gives Back. So anyway, but enough of that. I mean, I just wanted to make sure. I know I can kind of ramble on about that because I love when I see that type of work and people like really helping people. But let's kind of wrap it up and let's get into our interview. Cause like you said, Mike has got a lot to talk about with Martin Chuck. I'm looking forward to bringing him on the show. So let's jump into that right now. All right, so we have the pleasure of having Martin Chuck on the show. Martin, welcome to the show. Mike gave a little bit of our listeners a little bit of a background, on how he got it connected and how we got you on the show here. But I want to start off talking about your golf school, the Tour Striker Academy. With so many golf schools around the world, I want to see if we could just kind of talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about what's unique about the Tour Striker Academy.
Well, I mean, for starters, we've got a great location at the Raven Golf Club in Phoenix, Arizona. So there's very little headwind at it's close to the airport. Most of the folks that come in, we're starting one tomorrow. We've got Canadians, people from all over the U.S. And really nobody's local. It's a golf school vacation, and you can get to the airport, get to the host hotel, and get to the golf course all within 15 minutes once you land. It's great. So the price is right. We work our tail off to help you get better, and we support it long after you're gone.
What are some of the, sorry, Frank, but what are some of the things that go into it? Someone comes in, they come into the school, like can you walk us through it?
Yeah, for sure. So the first morning we put you through some testing. We've got 6 stations. We got a TrackMan station. We've got a body track station. We've got Gears 3D station. We've got Turf station. We're looking to see how you hit it, how your body works, and see what the lowest hanging fruit is for you as a golfer right away, and then what the long-term plan can be. See, most people go to the range, they don't have a plan, and what we do is we build an online training platform for you. All the video that we do working with you, we record, we upload to a platform, and it's there for you to review. We wear mics so you can hear it. You can refer back to it. You can ask questions like a little blog, and we get back to you. And then we want you to stay engaged, because the more engaged you are, the more you tell your friends, the better you get, the more customers come see us. And so once you leave us, you don't leave us. We want your coach to know what we did. We include him on the platform, and we just try to keep things rolling so that we are on top of you. So you don't just come in and you're done. You're coming, you're engaged, and you keep working at it.
I like that. That was what was intriguing to me when you just said that there about as far as the follow up after the fact. I can't think, because the big fear that a lot of people have is that feeling that you felt so good while you were there. And then after the fact, you go back and you just feel like I forgot it or I lost it. And I think that's a big fear that a lot of people have. So it sounds to me like you're in a large way leveraging technology to close that gap of the space and time and distance between when you actually do the work and after the fact.
Right. If you have a smartphone, you can watch the content we created for you, and it's one-on-one. If I'm working with you two guys, it's with you, and my coaches are in there. We have different based on what you need. We'll work harder. Say you can't drive it, we're going to put more time emphasis on getting you off the tee. If you are not very good around the green, you lose a lot of shots, you're going to be spending more time in that area of the golf school. There's a 3-to-1 relationship, coach to student, which is really, really a solid one. And I'm there the whole time. People always say, "Hey, Martin, do you coach your golf school?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm there from the time you get there till I pat you on the rear end at 5 o'clock on the third day." So, and we play golf every afternoon together. We tee off around 3, and it's on-course situational learning. So we don't get through 9 holes. We play like 6 holes, because I may say, "Hey, hit another ball," or "Let's drop one here and hit this shot. Let's talk about how the lie affects this ball. Here's a flyer lie. Here's a tight lie. Here's a funky bunker shot," etc.
Yeah, that's pretty. Frank, you hear that? Martin says, every day we just go out and play golf in the afternoon. How nice is that?
That's nice.
That is nice. But hey, what I like hearing is the fact that you're there. I think unfortunately there's too many teaching professionals that lend their name to the academy, and then you kind of go into it. It's their method, but you never actually see their face. So that interaction, I think, is worth its weight in gold.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I've seen that too. There's famous teachers that have their academy, their main one. They're at that one. They charge an arm and a leg to be in front of them personally. I mean, my golf school, I think, is priced fairly. I'm there. I work hard. And if you come to my golf school, you'll be like, "Darn, that guy works hard to help me get better." Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to do. I mean, I put the time in. I want you to be a better golfer.
Yeah, it's smart because it's tough when you get that feeling like somebody doesn't care, they're not, not watching. So I like to hear that.
So Martin, I wanted to ask you because I mentioned this when I did the introduction. It mentioned in your bio that you preferred not to be kind of inside the ropes on tour with these guys, stay back at home. What was the reasoning behind that? Just, family, stress of travel, things like that?
To help I enjoy working with good players, and I have plenty of good players that come see me, don't get me wrong. But, I love getting up in the morning, having my cup of coffee, sitting on my couch, going to my job, to my office, my range, and I come home to my kids and wife. Okay, so I've got the best teaching job, period.
Right.
I could be out there with some guy that, he wins. And I've had a tour winner, Nick Taylor. I coached for a couple of years there, and he won a tour event a couple of years back, and I was super proud of what he did. But in the end, I'm just as super proud of some guy who says, "Hey, I won the Sea Flight Championship, and I shot net 65, and the guys are razzing me." That makes me just as happy. I love it when it just gets better, whether it's Nick Taylor, a tour player, Darren Clark has taken online lessons, a lot of professionals. But if they want to book a lesson with me, guess what? You book a lesson, come see me in Phoenix. I don't travel because I got 2 young kids and a wife, and I like my life.
Right.
Yeah, perfect.
And arguably, you're doing a lot more we always talk about growing the game and growing golf because, by that method, you're going to touch a lot more golfers than working with just 1 or 2 tour pros and traveling around with them.
Yeah, like Chuck Cook's neat in a way because he did what I did. Like when he was younger, he worked with tour players, and then he did his golf school thing. Now he's older. He's kind of retired, so now he does it as something to do, and as he's a little bit older. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? While I'm involved in my kids' life, will I travel the tour in 10 years when dad's not cool anymore and they're off into college? I may,
right?
But for now, I love what I do, and I love watching what my kids are doing every day.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And I want to switch gears in a second and talk about Revolution Golf. But before we do, as far as the Tour Striker Academy goes in general, how does some of our listeners take advantage of that? Is it something that it's a year-round thing? Do you have specific times of the year that you do it? How would they find out more, and when would they get involved?
So tourstriker.com, there's an Academy tab on there. You click on that, and it gives you options. You can take an online lesson. You can come to the golf school, or you can book me one-on-one, or you can, you can book me one of my coaches too. So you can read about the golf school. The main school is in Phoenix, October through May. And then during the summers, I travel. I do a lot of golf schools for Revolution Golf. I'm leaving on Sunday to go to a 2-day school in Orlando with Martin Hall and Sean Foley. And then we have another one with Andrew Rice and Sean Foley at the PGA show at the end of January. And then there's a few of those in the summer, and then I put my own on. So all in all, I do a little over 31 or 2 golf schools a year, 2 to 3 day camps all over the place, mostly in Phoenix though, every weekend.
Wow. It certainly keeps you busy. We're going to be down there at the PGA show this year, so we'll have to get a chance to pop over and say hi. But let's talk a little bit about Revolution Golf. First, if for anyone who has not heard of it, I know it's one of the biggest platforms out there. So most golfers have come across it in one way or another, but can you tell us a little bit about Revolution Golf and how you got involved?
Yeah, it was kind of by accident. It was pretty cool. My neighbor came home from a marketing conference and said he met this cool guy. He sat beside and got to know. His name was Justin Tupper. And he had started this forum, and next thing you know, he connected me with Justin Tupper. And I'm on there, and Justin was always looking for new content to provide to his viewership. And so he said, "Hey, why don't we try you out? Why don't you make some tips for us and see how it goes?" So next thing you know, I'm in San Luis Obispo, and I rattled off a bunch of tips, and people enjoyed it. So I've been on there now. I'm going on my 7th year.
Wow. Enjoyed it is an understatement too, because I'm on there right now and I'm looking at just one of your videos has 54,665 views.
Well, thanks. That's actually a light one.
Yeah.
This is just on the front page, and I see this right next to, I see Sean Foley there and a lot of other big names. So, that's pretty tremendous.
Thank you.
For anyone who's not familiar with it though, one thing I wanted to get an idea of where the difference is, because I see there's some free content on here, and then also there's a members thing, which is minimal cost. We're talking about like $19 a month or something like that. But
not even.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I saw like there's year memberships that bring it down even lower than that. The question that we hear often though is it just seems like we're bombarded with so much free instruction on YouTube. What's your feeling there? What's the difference? Is there pros and cons? Is it sometimes too much? What do you feel there?
So my content, I used to put out one tip a week, sometimes two, just depending on what they need. And I would say find somebody that you like their tone, the way they communicate, and stick with that style. And, with Revolution Golf, what's nice, fellas, if you ask a question on the forum, I get back to you. So if you watch a video, on my YouTube channel, I might not because it's too fast and furious. I do that as a social media platform. But Revolution Golf, if you ask a question, I get back to you. So if somebody says, hey, Martin, I'm trying to learn how to shallow the shaft in transition, I slice it, and this made sense, but I'm gonna answer that question, right? So, and the membership part allows you to go back in the archives. Like I've done 300 or 400 videos now for Revolution Golf, 3 to 5 minute segments on you name it, it's in there. So if you have a question you suffered, like you couldn't hit your 3-wood, you type in 3-wood, poof, you'll get 20 videos on how to hit fairway woods, and I probably did 5 or 6 of them. So it's cool. There as a resource, and that's what you got to look at it like, as a great resource. You get a fresh new tip every day by some pretty quality guys.
And I really like what you're saying there as far as finding somebody that you like the style and the tone, because we've talked about that before when we've done entire episodes on how to find the right, golf coach and who to work with and things like that. Right. And finding somebody that you can kind of, mesh with. But I've never even really given it thought when you're looking at videos and online content, but it's so true, because you could find anything on YouTube and it doesn't mean that instructor and what they're saying is going to work for you. It doesn't necessarily match your playing style. And that's why I find that people get away from their own style, because they try to make themselves work like how somebody else plays. So that's an excellent tip. I hadn't thought of that before.
Thanks.
Okay. And then as far as Revolution Golf goes, similar type of thing. Can you just give our listeners a little bit of idea of how to, I guess, get involved with that? I mean, I imagine it's pretty straightforward, just revolutiongolf.com, right?
Yeah, you sign up, you get a free tip every day. Now, naturally, they're going to market to you all the latest and greatest golf gizmos that you may want or may not. So there's like a lot of people are members. We got well over 2 million, and then a lot of people just delete, and then they watch a tip from Sean Foley, Martin Chuck, Martin Hall, Andrew Rice, Jim McLean, right? Or they take a fitness inspiration through Don Saladino, and it's some people, it ebbs and flows. Like they get into it for a while, then maybe they take some time off, and maybe they get back into it. So membership has its privileges. You can reach back out. You can go to the archives. That's always cool. Or just free. Just get the daily tip, and that's how it works.
Yeah, like I said, this one video that I'm checking out, one of yours, it's free. It's right there. So it's a great way to kind of get an idea of how the system works. So excellent stuff. I know you're a busy guy, so we won't take up much more of your time. I appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, very, very helpful insight and tips there. And then, I'm going to have to check out your golf school at some point.
Oh, I think you'd have fun. We have a blast doing it, and it's fun first and educational second. And, I'm really proud of what we've been able to put together down in Phoenix, and the traveling school for that matter as well. So I think, if you go to Google and you search Martin Chuck's Golf Academy and the reviews, I'll just put it this way, my family's not that big. So a lot of people have had fun, and I'm proud of it. So thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
That's excellent. We appreciate you coming on again. All right, guys. So great little interview there. I feel like one reason why I love doing these interviews too is I learn something every time.
Right.
And, I've been intrigued by seeing Martin's name, in a lot of different places. Like I said, I every once in a while I'll check out things like Revolution Golf and stuff like that, and seeing his name here and there. So I've been intrigued to talk with him about this and pick his brain. But, I hadn't thought of that before. I truly hadn't, with the idea of just finding even an online instructor and just kind of like sticking with one guy and finding somebody who you like their teaching style and their tone. Because I'm just like everybody else, I'll go on YouTube and I'll search something, something specific with my swing, and I want to get some takes, and you do kind of get bombarded. You find 1,000 videos pop up on whatever issue you happen to have, like a duck hook, and you find 1,000 videos, and everybody's got a different method, and everybody's got, they all start the video out talking about their credentials, and a lot of guys are very, well credentialed, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fit with your style. We've talked about playing styles before. We talked about, fast pace, slower pace, whatever it may be. So I thought that was a great tip. And, just as we're talking to him, I've been on the Revolution Golf site, and it is true. I mean, man, I haven't seen this many videos in one place, golf specific in a long time. So, cool stuff. And, we always, love to see other guys out there putting out, on Golficity, we do our instructional content, but a lot of that is kind of more geared specifically to you and me and what we learn, as amateurs, and just kind of showing you guys, like, this is how we learned it. So this is how you can learn it, so to speak. But here we have a kind of a different thing. We've got very, top, like 100 professionals. We're talking about Sean Foley, Martin Chuck, some of these other guys out there telling you, these are well-credentialed guys telling you what you can do to improve. So it's a different take. There's just so many different resources out there. I love seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoyed having him on, and I'm excited to meet him in a few weeks, so that's great.
Yeah, without a doubt.
At the PGO show.
Hey, would you ever consider doing that? I've seen like this. There's other academies too, Ledbetter Academy, things like that. My father has done one in the past. I forget whose academy he went to. Might have been like a Greg Norman thing or something like that. He got a lot out of it. Would you ever consider doing that? Like taking like a mini vacation and going to one of these academies and tuning your game up?
I don't think so, really. I mean, I think I would rather, obviously, that one might be easier to do. It might be less expensive than what I would rather do. And what I would rather do is have that personal coach that can kind of be with you through like a whole entire season. So not, with you, but like he said, where somewhere you can kind of talk to, or like if I lived out in his area and I popped in every Saturday for a lesson with him and then played golf with him on a Wednesday. Granted, it would cost a lot of money, but you know what? That personalization of that coach, just imagine what that would do to your game versus going somewhere like a sponge, absorbing as much as you can, and then coming home and trying to remember it and then trying to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with that.
Without a doubt. But that's why I liked hearing, at least I had seen that complaint in the past. And that's why I liked at least hearing that they've got that solution for you. You know what I mean? Where they've got that, everything being recorded. So you're able to go back and do it. I had a small feel for that. The one time I took a lesson at, I think it was like the PGA Superstore or something like that. And the whole thing was videotaped, but that was only 1.5 hour lesson. But I still, to this day, that was 5 years ago. And to this day, I still pull that video up on my computer when I know I'm doing that one or two things wrong that we were worked on. And it serves as a nice refresher. So I like that. I also, I always like when you can leverage technology to kind of like bring those distances down a little bit. I like the fact that, like Martin was saying, like he responds to everyone in the comments and things like that. But I don't know. I feel like it would be for me, the only real hindrance would be family and travel, and trying to get away would be difficult. Scheduling, I think, would be my biggest issue. But I like that idea. I like the idea of just being able to spend a dedicated amount of time, whether it may be 3, 4, 5 days, to kind of like just focus on your game, lessons in the morning, playing lessons in the afternoon or something like that. And just, I don't know. I feel like some of these other lessons that we take, like local golf lessons, as great as they are, it feels like you're fitting this half hour of golf into an otherwise day that's filled with everything else that you have to do, So it just feels so rushed. But I don't know. I think it's a good point you make, but we'd have to like really take a look at the pricing, because, even like locally here, like Crystal Springs and some of these other places, they've got where you can go out and have playing lessons with the pros and things like that. And that, man, it gets expensive quick. I feel like sometimes when you have these schools where they have a lot of people coming, it kind of helps to bring the per person cost down. So you end up being able to have some of that one-on-one, because a playing lesson is not cheap. It's always expensive.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So being able to do that, I feel like, is an interesting thing. So, I don't know. It's something that I would at very least look at and explore as a possibility. And, I don't know. I'm also the type of thing, I think this is the type of thing that kind of makes a great gift too.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like now I'm at a point, like, I don't, like, my wife will tell me, like, what do you want for the holidays? What do you want? And I'm like, I don't have anything specific I want. Like, but I kind of like, experiences sometimes more than just material things. And it's like,
sure.
All right, well, get me a gift certificate to go to one of these golf schools and, give me the hall pass, so to speak, to leave
to go use it.
You and the kids for 3 days to go down there and use it.
Use what I learned. Yeah.
But whatever. But cool stuff. But I'm glad through your network there we were able to get Martin on the show because it was an interesting conversation. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's everything we have. Like I said, check out the Facebook group. You can go to facebook.com, just search the Golf Podcast under groups. You're going to see our group. Join it. It's a free group, and like I said, it's just a nice way for us to carry the conversation on in between episodes. We've got a great group of listeners in there, and I always like to just kind of give a shout out to them because those are the guys that make the group great. So check that out. And also, like I said, check out the show notes. Go to golficity.com/episode 197. And I'll have links to everything there, including, like I said, Golficity Gives Back and our campaign that we're doing with Charity Water to raise some money this holiday season and kind of give back in any way we can. All right. So check that out and we'll see everybody again next week.